So, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but I'm not answering any of them. Too bad. Because today we're going to be looking at the HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic Evolved Godzilla from the New Empire. That is a mouthful. They really should work on that. And the HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic Mothra from King of the Monsters. I'm going to have a brain aneurysm. No, but really, if you're seriously curious on why I've been gone so long, I plan on making a separate video on the topic. But for now, I just want to talk about these figures and do the one thing I've always wanted to really do. Now, I should note here that this footage that you're seeing in front of you is not footage of when I first got these figures. I already made a whole separate video on when I unboxed Mothra. But this footage is when I repackaged the figures just to get this footage, pretty much. But now you're seeing them how they would probably look outside the box, except for some plastic is missing out of them. I don't know why you would really care. So we're first gonna talk about Godzilla. So first talking about the painting and sculpting. Well, the painting and sculpting here is fantastic. It's really good. Also, I haven't had much HIYA Toys figures, but from this being my first impressions of an actual HIYA Toys Godzilla, this is not bad. I like the painting on the skin. The skin looks really nice. Or I guess I think it's pretty much skin. I don't know. Surprisingly, I don't know too much about Godzilla's skin. I also like how the wash is not really heavy-handed. It's not too crazily dry brushed. It's pretty evenly spread out among the body, and it's not as heavy-handed as some of the other figures I've seen from the past, like the first King of the Monsters Godzilla. That looked rough. Like, hold back on the painting, dude. Or like the dry brushing, dude. Like, come on. I also like the color of the spines. And I know you're probably wondering, yes, the spines don't look perfect. And I'm fully aware of that. But I am perfectly okay with the color of these spines. These spines look like the actual color that they did in the movie. And whenever I look at CGI models, I look like, oh, that's completely spot on to how it looked in the movie. But my problem does lie with the cutoff from the spine to the skin, because it's just completely way too abrupt and in the wrong place. Like, some of these spines start like halfway, like the paint starts halfway up the spine. So like half of the spine is just his skin, and it doesn't look right. I don't know why. Also to note, for some reason, the tail, the Thagomizer on the end of the tail, has a weird, dirty, like, wash to it. I don't know why this is here. It's kind of really distracting, and is actually like a kind of a major gripe. Like, why is this here? Kind of just feels like failed quality control, which we cannot be going down that route. But besides those major gripes, I got nothing else wrong with the figure. I should also probably talk about the face. The face here is amazing. I love how the teeth actually look individually painted. And the sculpting helps with that a lot. It helps, distinguish which is teeth and which is skin, which is really nice. And the eye, considering how HIYA has done eyes before, this is one of their best. It looks so good. It's well defined. Hard to see on camera. Dumbass phone doesn't want to focus in. But believe me, it is good. Although I will say the coloring of the inside of the mouth, I think I like the prototype version better. I don't know, it's just like, it looks more like a mouth on the prototype than it does here. For some reason the mouth here has like the same color as the spines. And it also doesn't look as glossy as the prototype did. And I know, like, in the movie, it looks like this. I know that. But that's one of my major issues with the design of Evolved Godzilla. I wish the mouth looked, different. So, it's not really a knock against the figure. It's accurate. It's more like a knock against the design itself. Now, I should also probably talk about the stomach area, because that was the major point of where people were really worried about. In those promotional images, the stomach looked way too sunk in. And yeah, I'd have to agree. It did look really sunk in. It gave him a weird shape of a body. Whereas if you see in the movie, the shaping of its stomach is not that bad. It's just lean. It's not overly exaggerated corset stomach. But after having the actual figure in hand, I've gotten used to it like a lot more. And I'm kind of just okay with this now. I will say, hopefully by the next movie they tweak the design so just fill out the stomach a little bit more. That's my only one thing. So, anyways, that pretty much wraps up all the painting and details. So, we'll then move on to, which unfortunately there's not a lot of, but this figure is $50 worth. And the only accessories you get are 2 fists, 1 for each hand. That's pretty much it. Now, I think the concept of Godzilla having a separate accessory, is neat. And I do like how the alternate hands are different compared to just the normal hands. Normally, when it comes to Godzilla having alternate hands, he'll just have like one in a neutral position and one in a more clawed position. But actually having one in a semi-clawed position and one set in fist positions is really cool. It actually looks different. So it's a good idea on paper, except these fists kind of suck. You could probably notice by the intensive grunting you can hear myself doing in this footage, but these fists do not want to get on the socket. They are just that stubborn. It takes some force to put them on. And I even tried to put them under like a hairdryer a couple of times. And yeah, it softened them up for a while. They just immediately go back to being assholes again. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that once you got them on, you soon realize something pretty noticeable. They don't even blend in with the skin. For some reason, the quality control behind HIYA Toys didn't even notice that the fists for one Godzilla, the fists for the actual Godzilla are 2 different colors. The fists are more black than they should be. They don't even match. It looks like he's wearing Mickey Mouse gloves. And it's not even a problem it's just slightly different. No, it's a really noticeable color. I feel like I got the wrong hands. So yeah, that is pretty annoying. I definitely will not be displaying him with these hands. I'll just keep him with the neutral hands. He doesn't need to be punching anything, so they'll be fine. Anyways, that's pretty much it for accessories. Now, move on to... Now for the articulation. First got a ball joint at the head. If I remove the head... take off these pieces, you'll notice that it's just a long ball joint with 3 neck pieces on, and then you would connect the head to it. That looks weird. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of room to move. And even for the head, the neck rings limit its posability by an astronomical ton. So that means you can't really look down at all. You can only look up about that much. You can look to the side about that much. And pretty much everything else the other way. But be careful, stressing it too hard will pop off the ball joint. It's not going to break or anything, but it's definitely annoying. It's kind of a shame. I kind of wish they just did ball joint, ball joint, ball joint, ball joint. That's what Monster Arts would have done. Maybe it would have made it less stable, but then again, I'm more worried about the articulation than stability. Fuck! Thank God this is flexible plastic, or else we would have a lot of issues. Hinge at the jaw. The tongue is posable. You can pose it like that. It's on a hinge joint at the back of the mouth, even though I would have preferred just the tongue coming out of a ball joint from the bottom jaw. That's fine. You can just move it yourself. Except for the head. Moving to the chest. The arm can do a full 360. Elbow joint, double joint actually. You got one here, and then you got one here. Pretty nifty. They work in tandem for you to move the arm. Then you got a ball joint at the hand that you saw previously that also falls off a little bit if you just play with it too much, but that's fine. You got a arcing back about that far. Push it back, you can make that gap a little more flush. And you got a crunch about that far. It's a little disappointing. I would have preferred him go down further. Awesome thing to note is that this is on a ball joint. This is what everyone loves to talk about. This being on a ball joint fills in that gap seamlessly. Literally. And you can move it from side to side. You can rotate it a little bit so that if you have him turning, say this way, you can make it look a little bit more flush. Lovely. Nice. Alright. Moving to a crouch. His legs can move up about that far. Can maybe do a full 360, but the arm gets in the way of that. And move down that far. Can move out about that far, and then in about that far. I think this is supposed to be a ball joint, but it doesn't really feel like a ball joint. It just feels like a rotating hinge. This knee joint can go about that much, which is a very good amount. If only his feet could account for that and move up or down more than that. The knee can also go about that far out. Also a little disappointing, but it's fine. See HIYA, so you know it's official. You got a cool foot detail. Like I said, foot down, up about that far. Can kind of twist, pivot. Not bad. Not that much. And then you get to the tail, which, oh boy, is always the best part about a Godzilla figure. The awesome ball jointed tail. And this one is actually pretty sturdy compared to SH Monster Arts. Sounds really nasty though. So that means you can pull off a tail pose, kind of like that. Can move up about that far. It's a little annoying, but the spines get in the way of that. And that's about it. Another point of articulation, which shouldn't be this spine. I don't like that. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I don't like that. Now, comparing this articulation to SH Monster Arts is just like a night and day difference when it comes to just quality control. The biggest difference between HIYA and SH is that, of course, HIYA doesn't have as many ball joints as SH does, so he's a little bit more restrictive of the movement. But when it comes to, you know, actually posing the figure and not having a ball joint pop off every 3 goddamn seconds, it's really nice. It's a nice change of pace. Anyways, that's pretty much it for all the notes for articulation. Now, moving on to... You're probably wondering what, where's scale? We'll talk about scale once we do Mothra, and we'll do them both together, so it saves on time. But anyways, final rating of this figure. What do I think about it? Honestly, it's a very good, solid figure. I do think as a first-time collector of HIYA toys, and this being like really my first ever HIYA toys Godzilla, this set the bar pretty high. This was pretty good. And they're making a better one later. That one does look really good, but I don't want to undermine this one, because this one is also really good. Besides the faults, of course, there are faults like, the spine's not being perfect, the Tagomizer being a weird color, same with the hands and fists, and wishing he had, an atomic breath piece like all Godzilla should come with. I don't know how it's not a standard rule. If you have a Godzilla figure, it should be standard and paramount that they come with an atomic breath piece. I mean, just come on. Doesn't even matter if it's like a special color vision. Like, just add it. Just put it in there. Anyways, I'll give this guy like a 4 out of 5 stars. Good, it's solid, but still can be, you know, improved upon. Anyways, yeah, that's Godzilla. That's the figure you've been waiting. I've been waiting. We've all been waiting for like a year now. This channel has been centered around this figure, and I finally reviewed it. Oh yeah, I should also probably, you know, review the other figure I did an unboxing of. Let's get to that. Anyways, I'm going to be using the same format that I did with Godzilla. So, first starting off with painting and sculpting. Like the title card said, or really the subtitle. Now, before I actually start talking about the figure's design and sculpting, I gotta talk about the actual design of Legendary Mothra in general. And my one biggest gripe about this design, I could say I do like this design. I like how she looks more like an insect. But why is she so small? She is tiny. I mean, compared to like the previous Mothras of the past, she is like microscopically small. I've probably mentioned this problem I've had with this design in the past before, since of just how vocal I am about it. But I won't dwell on it more here, but like, come on, if you're gonna update this design, make her bigger, please. She looks like she has no fighting chance, like, at all. Anyways, I should probably talk about the actual figures painting and sculpting. Once again, painting and sculpting here is awesome. It's movie accurate. I do love, the biggest thing that jumps out immediately is obviously the wings. It's the biggest part. I like how, compared to other Mothra figures of the past, that the actual wings have a transition from like the body into the actual wing that gives the illusion of maybe like glow or fluff, like bioluminescence. I do like that. And also just the wing design in general. The wing design just looks top notch. It looks amazing. I like how it went from the original wing design being just a couple straight lines and a weird circle at the top to actually looking like a moth's wing pattern. And I also love the touch of, you know, Godzilla's eye being there. Really cool. I don't know what the purpose of that old circle is. I'm glad that they actually changed it to actually being like an actual eye. Like Godzilla's eye. I'm glad they changed that. Anyway, we should probably look at the actual like main body of the figure. And the painting on the main body of the figure is also surprisingly good considering the size of this figure once again. Like, the actual fluff on the face is present. You can see it. That's something that any CA figure doesn't have. And also the eyes. The eyes are actually perfectly, like, painted on. They're drawn on. Surprisingly. It's really shocking. And also the body in general just has this simple dry washing to it that makes it pop a little bit more. Just to highlight the edges. And I like that a lot. But besides that, there's nothing much really else to talk about. So anyway, let's just move on to... So for accessories, you get once again one thing, although it's bigger than Godzilla's fist. You get the stand that Mothra comes on. And this would be cool if the stand didn't suck. This stand does not want to stay together or even hold Mothra for that sake at all. It's so flimsy, it just comes apart. It's like, while I was trying to get the footage for one of these, the claw came undone and I had to reattach it in the middle of it, and it's annoying. Now to note, this is the newer stand that they came out with. This isn't the old stand that the original wave of Mothra figures came out with. The original wave of figures only came out with plastic only stands. They didn't have these screws in there. It was just a plastic cap, and that it would just relied on friction, and that was even worse. I'm glad that they fixed it here now, but it still sucks though. I get it's supposed to be more like versatile, I guess, like moddable. You can like add, if you have more stands, you can add more to it. I get it, but it's still just a really flimsy stand. It's more dynamic, yes, than like say the NACA's stand, which is just a stick and a base. But like the base of the NACA figure had a cool design to it. This is just a boring stand. Dynamic, yes, but uninteresting. That is pretty much it for accessories. Moving on to... Alright, now let's get into posability. Posability for the figure obviously includes 2 hinge joints at the wings. Like so. These can move back and forward. And eventually, they also hold their poses really freaking well. That's something that the NECA figure also cannot do. So I commend them for that. Rotation at the forward pincer arm thing. I don't know, bug it at me. The secondary arm has a rotation here. It's a rotation here, and then a rotation up and down for this one. We come into the back. Wings out of the way. Going to the back, she has arcing back crunch. I think that's about it. Not a lot, but I'm happy it's there. Rotation of the leg. It's rotation. It's not a ball joint, unfortunately, but then again, ball joints pop off. So, and with the size of this figure, the ball joints would have been annoying. I would know. Okay, so we're now at scale. We're comparing the scales of other figures to these two. Okay, so here they are next to the NECA Shin Godzilla. Here they are compared to the soft vinyl version of Ghidorah from GMK. Here they are compared to their fellow HIYA creation, the HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic Shimo from the New Empire. Expect a review coming soon. Here they are compared to the SH Monster Arts Godzilla from King of the Monsters, the original. And also the NECA figure, even though I've already done this comparison before. And lastly, here they are compared to the SH Monster Arts Final Wars Godzilla and the Movie Monster Series Final Wars / Tokyo SOS Mothra, with my hand outside of the frame holding up Mothra because she doesn't have a stand. So for what this figure tries to achieve, I say it does succeed on those fronts, but then again, there could have been more potential here. It's just like, you can't really improve upon this. It's sorry, like, you get what you get what you pay for, okay? It's Mothra from not Queen of the Monsters. She's technically the Queen of the Monsters. I'm struggling here. It is Mothra from King of the Monsters. That's what you get. It's exactly what it comes with. There's nothing else you could really put in there with it. It just feels a little bit more empty than it actually is. But for what it is, I'll give her a 3 out of 5. And thus concludes the review. This is a year in the making, and it's over like that. Once again, if you're really curious on why I've been gone so long, I'll make a follow-up video on the actual internal struggles. But I'll give you one of the reasons is that I made a whole new channel called TD and Katie. It's where me and my friend play some video games together, and we do dumb stuff over there. Please go over there and watch it. I'm pretty sure you'll like what you see over there. If you like watching me bumble like an idiot over here, then you'll watch us bumble and scream like idiots over there. But anyways, I got nothing much else to say. Thank you guys for being so patient. Thank you guys for also getting me to 91 subscribers. I don't even know how that happened. I believe when I was last here, I don't remember what I was at before I left, but it was definitely not 90. And you guys still managed to get me there. So thank you guys so much for that. Now go get TD and Katie to 90 subscribers, alright? Go do that. Anyways, time for outro. Remember guys, like what you like, hate what you hate, just don't be a jerk about it. Salutations, honestly. See you later, y'all.